Hello everyone, I am Lone Ref of the Apocalypse, and today I'm going to show you how to remove and replace your pivot cups. Now those are the little cups that go in between the truck and the plate. Now in most skates they are a little rubber cup, and those are really easy to replace. You just take any sharp tool, stick it in there, and pry it out, and then push the new one in with your thumb. It's really quite simple, but I'm going to be focusing mostly on the metal pivot cups, the brass and the bronze ones, the ones for the Pro-lines and the reactors. This is a reactor here. The reason being is they are much harder to replace than the rubber ones, so that's the one I'm going to focus on here. Now first off, how often should you replace them? A good rule of thumb is probably about every 5 years. You can see I have a set here and I completely wore a hole right through it, and it was starting to rub on the plate, so you really should replace them before they do that. Now I had these for quite a few years, so I think a good rule of thumb is probably about 5 years. It's going to depend, of course, on how often you skate, how heavy you are, how hard you skate, things like that, but about 5 years is a pretty good rule of thumb. Now the first thing you're going to need to do is take everything apart. Now I've already loosened everything to make this really quick and easy. You're going to need a couple of different tools. I'll explain each one as we go. The first one is just simply an Allen wrench to loosen up the toe stop. I've already done that. Take the toe stop out. The next one is the smaller Allen wrench. This one should probably come with your skates. Remove the locking screw. Now I recommend putting it in some little cups so you don't lose them. The next one is the little wrench that comes with your skates to remove this guy here. And you can use any wrench if you lose this or your skates didn't come with them. Put that in the bowl. Then you're going to remove your cushions, your trucks, the lower half of the cushions, and of course do that for both sides. Now you can leave the kingpins on if you like. There's no reason to take them off, but you will need to take the plate off the boot. So we get our little, let's see, this is a 3/8 inch wrench. I've already removed the other three. Going to loosen this last one, and the washer in the bowl, and then you're going to have to separate the plate from the boot. Now with leather soles, sometimes they have a tendency to stick, so you may need to pry it off with a screwdriver. Now I've already had these on and off a couple of times, so it's coming off pretty simply, but it may take a little prying. Okay, so once you get everything separated, you'll see the pivot cup right here. Now if you turn it over, you're going to see two little holes on each side. What you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a pin punch set. Now I picked this up, it's a 6-piece set. I got it at Walmart. It was really cheap. It was on clearance. It was only a few bucks. But most tool stores and home stores sell them for about $9–10. So you're going to take the smallest one, I think this is the 1/16. You're then going to match the angle. As you can see, the cup is at an angle here. So you're going to go to the little hole in the back, and you're going to match that angle as best you can. Now I recommend doing this on the floor, on the carpeting. This way you're not going to damage the plate, you're not going to damage your dining room table, but I've already had mine out, so it's pretty easy to do it here. So you're going to put it through the little hole, you're going to grab yourself a big hammer, and you're going to just start tapping it up. Now when you first buy your plates and they've never been changed before, for some reason they glue them in or epoxy them in. So you may really have to bang on them. Fortunately I've already had these out and it pops out pretty easily. Now once you get them out, you're going to want to take something sharp like this is a standard slot jeweler's screwdriver, and dig around in there. There's going to be some leftover glue and epoxy that you're going to want to get rid of, clean it up, get rid of any debris that might be in there. Now once it's all set, good time to give them a good cleaning, which I did. Then you're going to take your, let's see, what size is this? I can't see it. But then you're going to grab your pivot cups. You're going to put it inside the cup and hammer it back in. Now before we do that, I should mention that with the Pro lines, you can buy brass replacement pivot cups. But with the reactors, they no longer make the brass pivot cups. They make the white Delrin cups. Now these are pretty cool. They're a bit cheaper. They also don't require any lube. They have graphite built into them, so as they wear, it releases graphite. And I think a lot of the brass ones do that as well. I'm not sure about the bronze ones. If you're not really sure, ask whoever you purchase them from to know whether they need to be greased or not. But most of the modern ones do not need to be greased. They have graphite inside. So I'm just going to put it in there. Grab my tool. And bang it all the way in. Now this one's kind of loose. Most of the brass ones are actually quite tight and really require banging them in with a hammer pretty good. But the Delrin ones seem to be pretty loose, as you just saw. So the next step is just simply to put everything back together. Okay, so I finally got everything back together, but I wanted to recommend that if you're changing your pivot cups, you should really consider changing your cushions as well. They really should be changed about once every 5 years, just like the pivot cups. And once you've got everything all taken apart, there's really no reason not to. They have a tendency to get hard after a while, and if you're like a derby skater or a session skater and you're constantly turning left, they can also get a little lopsided as well, and they don't snap back the way they should. So definitely recommend changing your cushions as well. I really like the Powerdyne Reactor Magic cushions. I think they fit both the Reactor and the Pro lines. I really like the softest ones, the 88As. I think that provides the best mobility especially for derby and session skaters. If you're a speed skater, you might want to get something a little bit more firm, but I like the softer ones myself. But that's of course up to you, but definitely change them both if you're going to change one. Well, I think that covers everything. Hope you learned something. If you did, feel free to subscribe and to like, and I'll see you in the next one.